Hello and welcome to Coffee and a Chat with my spiritual friends. Today I've got my friend Christine Rodgerson from Canada, from Ontario, who is a crystal goddess, a pendulum divine lady. She's an oracle card reader, a tarot card reader, a Reiki master. Amongst other things, she's one of my best friends. So welcome from Canada, Christine. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Bev.
It's more than a pleasure. You've been there from the beginning. Um, you've given me a spiritual kick up the arse as and when required. Sometimes no message needed. I get it anyway, but it's what I need when I need it. So I hold and love you very dearly in my heart.
Well, thank you. I do too for you.
Now, I know you've got some exciting news to share with people about your IPH this morning. So can you please tell our YouTubers what you've got?
Yes, I have recently acquired my executive trainer certification through IPHM, which is International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine. So I'm very thrilled about that. So I will be teaching courses and classes, just everything that I've learned and through the many, many teachers that I've been blessed to have in my life. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
You can count me in on some of those. I'll have to rearrange my dates and my shifts and get everything sorted. Now, we actually met in Julian Jenkins' Light and Harmony community. And then when COVID started and the faces kept appearing when he opened the spirit room, we had a connection.
Yes.
I turned to you a lot, not just for advice on spiritual stuff, but with personal stuff as well. You've stopped me from having many a nervous breakdown. And when I've thrown tantrums like a 2-year-old, you and Elena's had to wear it. And for that, I am grateful.
Oh, it's
Very,
my
very
pleasure.
grateful.
It's my pleasure, Bev.
Um, would you like to tell us where your journey started along the line of being
Oh
spiritual?
my, which part? I've always been. I remember now looking back at my childhood, I spent many, 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 many hours in nature, conversing with animals and just being one. But I would do this thing, and I never knew. Now I can look back and say, that's what I was doing. But I would go out into the woods and I would find like a mountaintop of dirt and I would lay in it and I would watch. I wasn't watching the clouds, I was watching heaven watch us. And I couldn't articulate it. And Oprah actually did a movie. Their eyes were watching God watch them. And I'm like, that's exactly what was happening. I knew that they were there. I knew that they were watching us. And then as I got older, I experienced something very surreal and I couldn't talk to anybody about it. But I knew that there was another older version of me on a plane above me. And I would look up and I knew that she was looking down at me. And I was like, it was like I was her puppet. And it's like, okay, you need to change stuff up here, okay? Because this isn't cool. We had many of those conversations. And then, like, I have a belief that a lot of mediums are born of trauma. We have
Mm,
a rough road because we're an empath, and this is how spirit talks to us, is through our experiences in life. Because if you ask most mediums, they've had a rough road
yeah.
and it's taken something traumatic that brought them back to their spiritual self. So I had to, about 25, almost 30 years ago, oh my God, 30 years ago, I was in such chronic and acute pain that I wanted to take my life. I had ankylosing spondylitis, which the body thinks the spine shouldn't be there. So constantly attacking it. It was 24/7. I couldn't sit, lie down, stand, walk, anything. It just hurt. The pain in my through my whole body from my spine was just surreal.
Yeah.
And I started with Reiki and then crystal healing and then pendulum work. And it went from there. But I know definitively that Reiki healing, and that's why I went through from becoming a Reiki master, and the crystals, it saved my life, because I would have ended my life for
It's
sure.
it's the same with me. After the death of my parents, didn't want to be here, couldn't be nice to anybody, didn't even like my own shadow. And if I could have taken my life and joined them, I would have done. They've always been my rock. When I needed a kick up the arse, my mother made sure I got it. My dad was his dirty joke a day, which I look forward to. And when they went, everything, it didn't matter that I was a mum, it didn't matter I was a nana, it didn't matter that I'd been married for 25 years plus. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
The grief of losing my rock. And I went off and had a reading, and Dad came through and gave me up no end. But he told me that Reiki was not a form of Japanese karate, which
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it in England. Within being here a month, that's all I heard was Reiki. And I thought, why do I need to learn Reiki? I'm good with my right fist, I don't need karate. But
Yeah.
Dad came through with a message, told me what it was. I haven't looked back. My life has changed. I'm a nicer person for it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like you say, you don't actually recognize the things that you have until everything starts unfolding.
Well, I mean, like I have this saying that our guides, our ancestors, our relatives, they throw pebbles at us to get our attention. And we brush them off and say, like, hey, and then they'll start throwing rocks at us and we're like, piss off. And then they will throw bricks at us and it's like,
Oh,
enough. And then they will do like they did with me. They drop a house on you and it's like, okay, you have my attention. I surrender now. I surrender. What do you want me to do? And that's when we fall into place.
yeah.
You know, like when I began my spiritual journey with my mom. She was my best friend. We adored Sylvia Brown and John Edward. Like we would watch and we would have such deep conversations all the time.
See, I
And
didn't.
she was an incredible healer and she didn't know what to do with it.
The only thing that I can remember, and it's actually written in a book that one of my other uncles wrote, and it's a story of my mum's two big brothers. So mum hadn't been born then. I think Uncle John was a baby, and they lived on the farm in Steepleford. And the old guy who was the lord of the place, they were tenant farmers, and he died, and his son was about to sell the farm from underneath them, which left a bloody huge family homeless. And the guy that died, he came back to Uncle Chris and he said, tell your nana to look in the cupboard drawer. He told Uncle Chris rather where it was. And Uncle Chris told his nana, which is my great grandma. And they went running up to the big house just as the sale of the furniture was coming out. And apparently Nana was screaming, no, 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 don't, please don't. The ownership of the house is in there. It's in the drawer. We know it's in the drawer. It's in that drawer. Well, they literally had to hack this piece of furniture to pieces, which was unheard of because it was apparently a beautiful, marvelous piece. And he had actually written, because they were good tenant farmers and he was in love with Uncle Chris.
Yeah.
He'd left him this piece of paper and it was found. Had he not gone to Uncle Chris tell Uncle Tom tell Big Nana,
Yeah.
the whole family would have been homeless.
Yeah.
None of that was passed down to us. It's weird how, I mean, I don't know anybody from Nana's side. I know Nana read the tea leaves because I found it fascinating when I was a little girl.
Yes, but remember back in those days, it was because of Christianity, how it
Mm,
perceived
yeah.
your life was on the line. Even if you had, like, I have clear knowing, and I remember being a child and saying no, like I would predict something because I knew wasn't even a prediction. It was like, no, that's not a good thing to do.
Mm,
And then people like were getting mad at me and saying I was a know-it-all. And it's like, no, well,
yeah.
sorry. And then you would end up, you were talked out of your belief, you were talked out of your knowing. And then it just became, you didn't know nothing. Everybody else had to tell you what to think and what to do.
Mm,
And I remember, I remembered your friend David. He said, "You have clear knowing." And I'm like, yes. And when it was such a gift that he gave me, when he looked through that screen and he said, "Don't
mm,
you dare change what you're going to
no.
say or think or thought to anyone." And then
Yeah.
it just dawned on me that somebody else was just trying to talk me out of my knowing. And I don't allow that anymore. He gave me
No.
such a gift in that word. It built, because now I trust solely what spirit gives me.
Mm.
And I don't allow anybody, because I know it's not wrong.
He's
What
he's an
spirit says is truth.
yeah, no, he's an amazing chap, is David. And he was an ultra professional. He actually toured the world. He did things in the States and Oz. He had a tour manager. And I think illness started to creep in.
Yep.
He's extremely fragile now. But he's a fantastic medium. I mean, the guy's 80 and he
Yeah.
still
See,
serves the spiritual circuit.
that, I mean, like, that's just it, is you can't not be affected by it, because
Mm.
it's exciting. We love what we do, but we forget to shut it off, and we forget to do self-care.
That's the
And
biggest thing.
so we burn out. But I'm also like an empath, so I feel. And
Mm.
now that I see and feel people's past lives, I was just saying in my development circle earlier, I said, I can't shut it off. Because as soon as I hear somebody say something, I'm automatically seeing through their eyes their past life that they experienced in this. And I'm like, I can't shut it off. I haven't figured out how to shut it off yet.
It's that is
I will.
the biggest thing. I mean, they say, right, now we'd like you all to tune in. When you
Hmm.
first hear that, you think, okay, remote control, because
Yeah.
nobody nobody actually sat me down until Julian did and taught me, sit down, sit in the power, call them
Yeah.
close, call them closer still. And when you recognize the feelings that you'd already been having, you feel a bit
Well, that's
tweaked.
it. Yeah.
And then when I go to work, right, I can't be involved in work. I'm going to work to do a certain thing today. I don't know what to get there. You can be sat down there very chilled, very relaxed, and then it can be vroom, vroom, vroom. And I'm thinking, oh, no, 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 no. No.
Yeah.
And then it's nag, 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 nag. Okay, well, okay, I'll pay attention because this needs attention paying to it.
Yeah.
How do I then pass the message on from what I've received to the other person? And I'm thinking, I can't do that because of the environment I'm in. I have to choose words and actions very, very carefully. And you
Oh,
know
for
me,
sure.
I'm not articulate. Usually, if my brain thinks it, it's out my mouth. Trying
Yeah.
to rein everything in is very, it's difficult.
But see, like for me, I've been like, I tell people about the dream I had when I was 5 years old in the hospital. I remember it like I dreamt it last night. It is that vivid to me. And I knew then that that was a past life dream. Because how did I know? I didn't know about sharks. Mr. Dressup was my go-to guy. Like he was my hero. And there was no sharks on his show.
Hmm.
So how did I know what a shark was. I didn't. At 5 years old, I didn't. And this was in the middle of the night. I had this dream where I fell in the water and a shark bit me in half. So as I got older and I got and after I got into Reiki and everything, I started looking into my past lives, and then the dreams would happen where I would dream about a past life. And it explained some of like my migraines or my back issue. That explained it. So can I make it go away? No, I'm still struggling with it. But knowledge is power. I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. Education, things that you learn is never, ever a waste of time. Never. It's never a waste of time. And it doesn't matter what it is you're learning. It's not a waste of time. So with that, I can bring some amount of healing. If I can help somebody overcome a phobia, a fear, or just have an understanding of why they feel a certain way, why they think a certain way, why they have a fear of this, or why they're attracted to this, that's power.
Yeah.
And it's healing. It's healing in another way.
I
Because
remember
then my guides started downloading me, you got to teach this. And I'm like, okay, sure.
I remember the session we had where you were doing the past lives. You've actually gotten rid of this. You know, I used to suffer from a horrific sense of guilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's now gone. I've now accepted what will be will be. If it doesn't get done today, it can get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
The house that I was seriously drawn to here, I can now manage to drive past that and not have to stop and look.
Yeah.
And I'm not a native New Zealander. We've only been here 18 years, but that house, couldn't tell you, it drew me insanely. Now I don't have that.
Yeah.
The guilt has gone. I can actually live from moment to moment. I don't feel I have to do everything at that particular moment in time because I'm going to get shouted at. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more relaxed around doing certain things. Whereas before it was tense and I would beat myself up. I mean, the last time we spoke, you literally did have to tell me off, big style, because I'd got myself worked into such a buzz. No, it was, and we've got my father with me because I'm clicking my lips again. But it was needed.
Well, I don't do it in a harsh
Oh
way.
no. It was how I needed it when I needed it.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. Sometimes Beverly does need a crate dropping on her head to make her realise, hey, stop, look, breathe.
That's it.
Stand back, breathe, move forward calmly.
And that's the hard part is because I learned something after my mom passed away. Because like you, and I even told my children, I said, I don't want to be here. I'm racing. I won't take my life, but I am damn well racing to the finish line. And it took 7 years every day reliving, because I had to end her life. 7 years reliving that every day, until I did because I was seeing a doctor. I had PTSD from my father's PTSD and taking care of him and taking care of my mother. And then and then when you stop being a caregiver, it's like
the rug's gone.
What do I do now?
Yeah, it's your safety. I know it sounds silly, but it is your safety rug. And when that rug is whipped away violently, you're left with time and space that you've never had.
And
Yeah, and
thoughts.
it's the thoughts. It's the thoughts that crucify us. When Mum passed, I told her off. Basically, she laid there. She hadn't been dead more than 5 minutes. And I'm telling her off. How dare you flaming leave me? Not Barbara, Helen, or Haley, or my dad, or her grandkids, or her great-grandson that had just been born. I don't know what it was. I've never felt anger. Not to that extent that how dare you leave me?
Yeah.
You're my person that gives me a slap when I need it, sometimes uncalled for. But how dare you? And then when Dad died, it was even worse.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see Dad a lot with him being a fisherman as kids. It was very rare he was home. So when Dad did come home, we'd got this beautiful guy that liked to tell a dirty joke a day.
Yeah.
He loved his wife, he loved his daughters, he loved his granddaughters. And then when he was given great grandsons, his world just sparkled. How dare you go have a major heart attack and bloody leave me?
Yeah.
I don't
See,
think they realised.
I needed, no, you don't. I needed to do neurofeedback in order to move past it. But what I realized, because I was seeing a doctor to help me with my PTSD, and I said, I want people to know the depths of my hurt and how much my mother meant to me. And it didn't matter because she wasn't their mother.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, okay, so I don't need to continue that, because she didn't like any kind of attention. She didn't even want a funeral. And I told her, that's not fair. And that's not happening. But for me, that realization made a huge difference and a huge shift in the way that I perceived. So going forward, I understand we all need different mentors at different times.
Yeah.
Spirit brings us those people that we need to learn from, or that we need to help us to understand lessons so that we can move forward. Some people come into our life just for a season,
Yeah,
or for a reason, and then they leave. Or some are meant to stay. And I understand that better now because of that experience. If I hadn't gone through that, I can't bring that kind of comfort and understanding to those. We have a mutual friend who is still grieving, and I understand that. And there's no time stamp on grief.
no, there isn't.
There's no, it's every person goes through their own mourning period and their own phases.
My dad never got over Mum. I thought my dad handled it really well, but he didn't. When he passed, I mean, God forgive me, Dad, please don't come down and give me a good hiding. But when Dad died and we went into his bedroom, my brother-in-law was bringing out bottle and bottle and bottle and bottle and bottle and bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
All the tablets that he was supposed to be on for his heart, for his asthma. I didn't taken them. They were in the drawer, they were in the wardrobe, they were hidden.
Yeah.
He'd still toddle off to the doctors and, collect his scripts. But the booker never took them.
Yeah.
But I can understand now why.
Yeah.
For ages, I've had this thought, if you hadn't been so fucking stupid, we could have still have had your dad. But no, it was a massive heart attack. And he went. And
so when you feel the love and the pain, can you imagine what he was feeling for the loss of his wife?
Yeah. I mean,
right?
he when they came ashore, even in the later years, they had the beautiful relationship that when they walked down the street, Dad always took Mum's hand.
Yeah.
He would take her hand, but the handbag off her. sling it over his shoulder and hold her hand. They would look in shop windows and he'd go, that's nice, Shiz. What do you think to that? Yeah, that's nice, George. He said, do you like it, Shiz? Oh, yes, it's really nice. Right, you just go over there and do what you've got to do, or totter off with Bergie or someone. He'd nip in the shop, get it, hide it. And when they got home, here, Shiz, for you.
Yeah.
Always, I love you. And she'd call the shit out of him, because once he plonked his ass, he plonked his ass. But she adored him.
Yeah.
It was really, it's something to watch.
Because that's back in the day, like my parents had been married 58 years by the time my mother passed away. And when I did her eulogy, I turned to my dad and I said, what a beautiful gift you gave us. You learned to fall in and out of love with each other at different times so that you didn't end your marriage. And he, like I said, he had severe military PTSD. So God love her for, going through what she did. But yeah, they learned to fall in and out of love at different times.
You've
and
actually,
that was a gift they gave us.
You've actually put that beautifully. I've never heard that said before. That is absolute beautiful way of looking at it.
Yeah. It's the same thing with you and your husband. You've learned to fall in and out of love with each other at different times.
Yeah.
The trouble starts when you fall out of love with each other at the same time. Then the relationship is over.
No, it's like you said, different times.
Yeah.
And
because then the love of the other person carries the other person through until they find their footing again.
Yeah.
And I mean, so as just to go back to mediumship, because I'm hardcore wired about protocol, ethics, and decorum and responsibility. And as a medium, we have to understand fully the power and impact we have on another human being because we're seeing them in the grips of their deepest despair.
Yeah. Agreed, Dan.
We have tremendous power over those people. And you have to approach it there's so many charlatans out there. That's why it was so important for me to get the accreditation through IPHM. It could have been now my next pursuit is getting my doctorate in metaphysics. But I think it's important for me, for my clients, for my students to know that I take it very seriously, that I'm not going to, if I don't know the answers, I will find the answers. But I am very hardcore about protocol, ethics, and understanding the power that you have over somebody who is in the depths of grief.
I mean, you get people coming for Reiki or for another modality of healing. And a lot of them, it's not just because they're in pain with the back or they've got a headache. There's usually an emotional issue there that's underlining it all. And we have to be careful.
Yep.
You can't go running your mouth off about, you must do this, you must do that, you must do the other. We don't, I feel that there's a lot out there that don't give the compassion.
No.
I mean, we have got some woozy-woosies out there that it is all love and light or too much love and light, that aren't taking on board the stuff that actually comes from it. And at the end of the session, and you 9 times out of 10, we do send them home with crystals. We do send them home with little exercises to do to help.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, it's the ethics behind it all.
Yeah. What I find so upsetting is when, and you and I have encountered them through Julian's group, is the people that have fear so instilled in them that they will not move past it. I tried working with a woman for over 2 hours who thought she had an incubus and I was like, try this, 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 this. And she was like, nope, none of it works. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I
Emotionally
thought,
open the
well,
door, put your head in it and bang it several times, come back out, try another approach.
but the thing was that she had gone to, because people get addicted to mediums.
Yeah.
She had already gotten a reading from like 12 different mediums. And of the 12 mediums, 3 agreed with her. And that's who she sided with.
I think people hear what they want to hear and when they want to hear it. It's like if you get somebody come to you for a reading, because you don't bring the person through that they really want.
Yes.
And hear what they want to hear. Yeah. It's all crap. It's useless. It's all crap. You probably give them 5 or 6 evidential things that they can take, and you know they can take it. But because that one person or one thing hasn't come through, shut down.
Yeah.
And they you are not the, you're not the medium because you didn't do that one particular thing. That's what I find upsetting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do they honestly think that once you've passed and you're this energy, you're going to sit around waiting for people to go, I think I'll go and see a medium and go talk to Aunt Doris now and see where she left the insurance papers. But I'll go see where my granddad hid that watch. To me, you're going for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Now, our spirit going to come down and say, oh, well, actually, the insurance documents in the blah, 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 blah. They don't sit around waiting for us to go to them. They're doing whatever they want to do at that given time. If your light's shining bright and that person on the other side is eager to talk to you because it's for the right reason, they're going to come through. But if it's done out of greed and malice, I don't feel they are.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like there's a lot of people that get hung up on the relationship questions. I remember this when I first started doing tarot, and then I was going to these seminars and workshops, and I had this one guy, actually I had 2 people that every week they would come and ask for a relationship read. And I told them, I said, you're just going to get told what you want to hear, because you don't want, it's not about them. It's about fixing you so that you can be in a place for somebody. If you can't love yourself, you can't expect somebody else to love yourself. So what you've got to work on for yourself is the question you need to ask. But people don't want to hear that.
No, and it's like people relying on somebody else for their happiness.
Yes, and that's a huge
You've got to be happy yourself.
That's right. So I had gone to one of these workshops, and that's when I heard their expression was, spirit will get pissed and just tell you what you want to hear because you aren't listening to what they're saying. And it's the same thing with the pendulum. I said, it doesn't matter how many times you reword the question. Spirit ain't stupid. They're going to tell you what you want to hear because you aren't listening. So,
my grandsons love the pendulum. And the eldest 2 have got their own. I've got mine. And I was teaching Mace, the eldest one, how to program it and get it going. And he was doing it really, really well. And then he turned around and he says, am I going to get PlayStation 4? I said, that's greed. We're not doing the greed. PlayStation 4 will come when Mummy and Daddy can afford it. Not because Mason wants it. You can't bribe the pendulum to give you the damn PlayStation. Mace, reel it in. And he sat there and he thought about things and he went, will Nana ever shut up and stop being right? And he went, boom, 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 boom. No. But it's nice. It's the other thing about is when you, it's like I said before, when you watch the new Awakened group come out, step forward with all their questions, and
Yeah.
some can sit back and be relaxed about it and take it in their step and unfold nicely. Some like to run at it like a bull at a gate and expect it all to be there.
Yeah.
And others will very quietly, very shyly sit back, too afraid to take that next step. Not because it's the unknown, but it's a fear of not getting it quite right.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, you have to totally surrender and trust spirit. So your grandchildren have a gift that they have the time to spend with you so that you can encourage their gifts. So they aren't afraid of them. They aren't being deprogrammed like you and I and so many other mediums have been through society, through our parents, just through our upbringing. So as they grow into adulthood, it may not be something that they will pursue, but they will be more willing to trust their inner knowing, their truth, their gut.
I mean,
to make decisions.
Loki sat on his mum's knee a couple of years ago now, and he said, "Mummy, can we have a chat?" So Charlie said, "Yeah." He said, "On our own, it has to be private." So she said, "Oh, he's going to confess he's broken something." And he didn't. He sat on Charlie's knee and he looked her clean in her eyes. He said, "I actually feel I need to tell you now why I chose you to be my mummy." And the things he was coming out with, he wouldn't know anything about, because it was things that was happening while Charlotte was pregnant, but we've never talked about. He said, "I sat and watched you, and I like the way that you was with Mason. I like the way that Nana came and did this, that, and the other, and Nana Jill did this, that, and the other, and Grandpa got so excited." And I mean, how would he know this? And then at the end of this loving chat he gave to my daughter, he said, "I thought it was time you knew this." He said, "I may not always be a good boy, but," he said, "I do love you, Mummy, and I always will." Often he buggered off. It was like, it's like she said she loves her boy so much, but it was that thing that he did that really bonded her heart to his. Because,
for sure.
I mean, he's now 9. He's 8. It must have been when he was 7. But he sat on Charlie's knee and he told her how he felt and how he'd watched her.
Yep. And that's proven. I mean, that's been proven that children coming back in have a memory of being on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, as they get older, they lose that connection. So having you be able to give that to your grandchildren as a gift, so that, like I said, they may not pursue mediumship, but they'll at least trust their own knowing and their own gifts and their own abilities. And that's huge.
Mason is a beautiful little healer. He's now just turned 12. But when I first got ill, he would snuggle up behind me and go, "Okay, Nana, you say you're opening stuff because I've forgotten what we say, so your lungs need it." And he'd squeeze in, and he could feel the warmth radiating out, not just going out, but up and down. And I'm thinking, "You're 6.
Yeah.
You're 6, and Nana is loving this."
Yep.
And he'll still come up and he'll go, "When you get up there, your dad's going to kick your ass, don't you?" "Yes, Mason. What have I done wrong this time?" "You've been naughty." I'm thinking, "Oh, shut up." But he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Logan loves the chakras. You go into Logan's auric space when you're doing his chakras. He's like, "Georgia, you're tickling them. You get the pendulum going." Georgia's the same. It's like you are tickling her. But he loves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Corbin John just pinches every bloody crystal I've got when I'm not looking.
Oh, they'll like what I'm sending you.
No, they're going high up, kiddo. They're going high up.
I didn't show you this one.
Ooh, that is nice.
Isn't that cool? It's a chakra palm stone. Every once in a while, I get myself a gift.
Mine seems to
But
be
yeah,
selenite. I've gone nuts on selenite.
the shungite. Oh my word, the shungite. It was just like incredible. The shungite pieces they had.
Yeah, it's like my rainbow fluorite that walked out the door with a
Mm.
5-year-old's hand attached to it. It was calling me, Nana. Nana, it was calling my name now. Okay, it's calling your name. How does that make you feel? Loved and wanted. You could say I'm precious. And he walked out. I thought, yeah, I've called you a few things, darling. Precious isn't one of them. But he's got his own little collection.
Yeah.
And he loves them. All the grandkids love their crystals. So I don't mind. I don't mind. As long as
No,
it's
I mean,
nice and they
like,
treat
yeah,
them well, I don't mind.
it's healing for them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. No.
See, Charlotte doesn't like them. The boys love them. Georgia lives them.
Yeah,
And yet,
it's what each person is drawn to. This is the beautiful thing about our spiritual path and our soul's journey is that we're all taken down a different path. And it's for our doing the past lives, I've come to realize that we have themes through our past lives. We have a particular theme, and that's what our soul has chosen as our life lessons. And you would think that we would figure it out sooner or later.
no.
But every life is a different experience.
Yeah.
The way we're experiencing it's just like you can have. I've had. I honestly I can't even tell you how many teachers have taught me the same subject, but with their style, with their flair, with their words. And that slightly changes it just a bit. So I may not have picked up this with this teacher, but because this teacher said it this way, okay, so that makes sense with that guy. Okay, I got it now. So I can do that. And that's why I think we have these experiences, is so that it's meant for us to learn. And that's why I said, like, when you messaged me the other day, can we do it? It's like the universe is just saying, not yet. It's not saying no, it's just not yet.
If he was having a major paddy.
But we forget that though. We forget that sometimes it is no, and sometimes it's just not yet.
Yeah.
That's all.
John was saying to me last night, bless him, and he was so patient. He said, are you going back in your room again? I said, if you don't mind, honey, yeah, I've just got one needs to be done because they're going away. And if we go away at weekends, it means, okay, I'm not working, but I can't do what I'd planned. I've stopped my plans to help you with your plans. I will be an hour. 3 hours later, I came out the room. I'd had a great time. I could not stop laughing. And he said, an hour. I said, yeah, but before I went in there, I got your stuff ready for you. I made you a cuppa. You'd had a good meal. I'd washed the pots. There was nothing for me to do when I came out, apart from to come out, close down, and come to bed.
Yeah.
He said, well, are you feeling better? I said, no, because I fucked up. It took me until going to bed asking this untechnology person, okay, guys, come in and show me. I'm so silly. I didn't realize what I was doing. Got up this morning at the aha moment and thought, yeah, you've done it again.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But it's John now recognizes that this side of things, it does bring me peace. I'm a lot better person than I am now than what I was 8 years ago. I cope with things a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Than what's happening and then going off, and I'm a lot better with both my daughters, thank God. I've always been the same with the grandies, but with my own girls, the way I look at their lives, I've always helped them, yeah, but it's okay. I can see you struggling. What can I do to enhance, give you the better experience? Rather than turning around going, you stupid child, blah, 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 blah. That's okay, let's take a look at this. Stop,
Yeah.
breathe, I'll make you a drink. Just go and sit with Dad, go have a cuddle. I'll make a cuppa and we can have a chat.
Yeah.
And John said years ago, I would have been jumping around the living room with my arms waving like a broken windmill, screaming and hurling abuse, which, yeah, I would have done.
But see, if you look back 8 years ago or 9 years ago, would you have been ready to take on this mindset? This is why I say mediums are born from trauma or upset or hurdles. We have to go through them to get to the point where we're ready to surrender, where we're ready to be authentic, where we're ready to honor ourselves and our gifts. And usually, I mean, like, it's very rare. It does happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, like that there isn't trauma and I mean, every trauma is trauma. It doesn't, there's no scale that my hurt is more than yours. It's what my perception is.
I remember David telling us that, I mean, he's born Valentine's Day, beginning of the war. And to keep him safe, his mum would lock him in a cupboard. Didn't matter if a bomb had dropped on the house, it would have got him anyway. But it's like he said, once he went into that cupboard, he would be naughty at times, so she would put him in the cupboard because that's where his friends were.
Yeah.
He might have been in the dark, but he wasn't. Because his friends came out, his friends sat with him, his friends taught him stuff.
Yeah.
And he learned and grew from that. Shirley, she fell in a whirlpool in Owakuni.
Yeah.
Her brother dragged her out. She was dead. Her brother brought her back. She's seen and heard spirit ever since. Gordon was on the farm. He was chopping some trees down and one fell wrong. And it went down, shot back, and then shunted him, and he was trapped. Head trauma, horrific. But when he came to, I mean, he could see spirit, talk to spirit, but he didn't see them as anything else other than real people. So they'd be going around a supermarket and he would stop to have a chat. And his wife was unaware of what was happening until there was another medium in the store who actually saw what he was seeing and went up and said to Margaret, no, your husband's actually having a chat with spirit. Now, I'm a medium. I can help your husband with that if you're willing to let me.
Yeah.
He was a fantastic medium. He's a brilliant healer. He's 85. But it's all, again, like you say, it's from a form of trauma.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what it takes to get us there. And that's okay. You know, like I started my official spiritual journey like years and years, like 25 years ago. And then it just happened, trauma. I wasn't staying in tune with it. I wasn't honoring it. And then trauma. This is why spirits in the house. This is why I said our guides throw pebbles, throw rocks, throw bricks.
I get it on the brick.
And then I had the whole house drop on me, literally. And I'm standing at the curb going, I surrender. I got it. Okay.
But
What do you want?
I met you when you'd moved into the other house on the lake.
Yep.
And it wasn't just me. My husband used to get so excited when you posted the Raccoons. I would say, Christine's on. Oh, he got the Raccoons, and we'd sit there and watch them. And he does say, I said, no, she's moved. She's back in her house where she was before. And he goes, she's not on the lake anymore. I go, nah.
No.
And it's like he misses Mandy's singing bowls, because that was the start of John being really poorly, and Mandy used to send the singing bowls, and it helped him.
Yeah.
I'll get my singing bowl, I get told to put it away. I frightened him with my drum when that arrived. It's not a big drum, it's the bowl, the shaman bowl.
Yeah.
And I was quite happy in there, cleansing my room with my drum. And he said, what the hell are you doing? I said, other than thoroughly enjoying myself, I'm doing the auric of my room. I'm doing stuff, lovely. So I said, go in the bedroom and I'll come and do you. So he didn't, he thought other things. And I went through. And because I had it done to myself, I actually cleansed his aura.
Yeah.
With this bowl. And then noticing the way the tune, how it alters, the vibration alters.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It blew me away. And it's only a wee thing. It's not a big thing. I think had it been a big thing, I probably would have been wearing it. She's still got a ferocious vibe to her. She's gorgeous.
That's good.
He doesn't.
That's good.
It's like he said to me, I waited a long time for it to arrive. Again, it came from Canada. But it meant something to me.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Georgia bought me the singing bowl for my birthday about 5 years ago.
See, this is why, like, when I didn't realize it, when the house burnt down and we went out to look at that house, I was like, I don't want to be out here. I don't want to be this far out of town. And we ended up taking it. So right away, I knew that I had to do something to help me heal, because I was in severe trauma. I was in shock. And so that's why I started taking pictures of the sunset, because the sunset for me was a reminder that tomorrow morning the sun's going to come up.
Yeah.
That I get another chance to do better, to be better, to live better.
Yeah.
And it was just a happy coincidence when the raccoons started coming up, and he hated it because he's not an animal person. And the more they came up, the more I learned from them. Because they are so family oriented. They always go in pairs. They're discriminatory against the brown and black versus the brown and gray.
Yeah, you said this.
They don't mix. But oddly enough, it's really surprised me when I saw like a nursery school, and I'm like, oh, come on. Seriously. It's a raccoon nursery school where one mother raccoon, all the babies came in while the other mothers took off and had a reprieve. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It taught me a lot. Yeah. And it reminded me to stop, to breathe, to just be. And they were such a gift for that reason. It was a gift.
It's like when we go up the mountain. I mean, we went back again last weekend to do what we couldn't do the weekend before. When it was minus 7.3 at the lowest, but we were snug. We'd got the heater on. I got up in the morning and John went, look out that window. Put my slippers on. I put my jumper on, over my PJs, and I went and I stood outside. I couldn't believe it. He said, "Are you going to come in?" I went, "Not yet." He said, "You'll be cold." I said, "I'm not cold." It just did something to my soul. I was happy to stand and look and admire, and it was thick, freezing ice fog, but the sun was just rising.
Yeah.
And you could see Rupayu, and then when you turned the other direction, you could see Naraho. And then when we got a bit further up, you could see Taranaki. And you're thinking that's all three volcanoes. It was just splendor. And I said to John, I can't find the words.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot find the words. Yet when we went the week before, cold, rainy, foggy, boo. Again, I still felt at peace because we were there.
Absolutely. There's nothing like Mother Nature is so forgiving and cathartic and healing for us. And like I'll say it again, I think COVID had to happen. I think COVID had to happen for Mother Nature because we were destroying this beautiful planet. And she just couldn't take anymore. I think COVID needed to do that so that she could recover. And within a month of being shut down,
your nature came back.
It was amazing. Things that were happening that haven't happened in 30 years were happening now because she had a month to kind of recuperate, breathe, and start to regenerate.
Yeah.
The souls that left this planet because of COVID, they chose this exit. What a gift they gave us for us.
Yeah.
For those of us who stayed behind. This is why there is such an insurgence of spirituality and pursuing this modality of healing.
Yeah.
Because we need it. We've become such a cold, distant, harsh, me society.
Yeah. We're working for things that we don't particularly need.
Yeah.
We can live without. What stunned me was watching Georgia and her friends evolve.
Yeah.
And to the point where Charlotte's friends, they'd all got children, they'd all worked their backsides off, but they were having to spend time with their children. Yeah, okay, homeschooling could be a bit difficult, but what didn't we do at home?
Yeah.
But it was watching the young ones bond with each other again.
Yeah.
And that you didn't have to get up at such a ridiculous time to get ready to go to work. You had time to relax. You had time to develop a new hobby. You had time to spend out in the garden.
You had time to heal.
Why were we moaning that we couldn't go past the front gate?
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I bitched, I moaned, and had a nervous breakdown about it at the first part. But it was, to me, I was being forced to spend time with somebody who, at that period of time, wasn't very nice. But I didn't know what he was going through.
Yeah.
Because he never said.
No.
And yet, when he did break and he explained, I was in shock. In total shock. Now he's at the point where things are moving good. He'll come home. Can I have a bit of healing? Yep. Do you mind if I lay down? No problems at all, boy. Yeah. Because I can see you're not well. You're exhausted. Lay down. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And we'll eat when you wake up. It's no skin off my nose. I don't care anymore. If he needs to do what he needs to do when he gets home, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the time I'm getting home from work, the first thing I do is have a drink, have a kiss, feed the animals, go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm dead beat within 15 minutes of being home. So why can't he do that?
Exactly.
Well, my honey bunny, we've talked about everything under the sun.
Yeah, it's 11:30 here, almost 11:30 here. So
Only 3:30 in the afternoon, so I better think about what I'm going to do for tea.
There you go.
It's been fantastic talking to you, and we've got to do this more often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm going to say good night, my darling.
Alrighty.
Go
Have a good
sleep
night.
tight.
Be blessed.
Mwah. Night, night.
Bye.
Bye.